What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm recapping Only Murders in the Building Season 5, Episode 5. I am a little bit behind, still catching up, thanks to, well, just the incredible amount of television that's on right now, and also I kind of paused while there was a pause on something else. So we're catching up. It's fine. I'll get there eventually. Before the end, I'll be there in time for the end. So this week, our intrepid crew. It's a recap, by the way. So spoilers. Our our crew went through a lot of things. It's a weird episode. This is a weird episode. I liked what it was doing, but it felt so random. It felt so desperately random all of a sudden. We learned a lot of things. We learned that Charles is taking testosterone, which felt so random. It's just thrown in there all of a sudden. And then he's like talking, like it like comes into conversation, and he's got the comment about how these pheromones are crazy and their cats, so there are cats in the windows. Like, did someone else direct this? Like, it feels like this episode was written and directed by somebody else, like as a gag. Like, it felt totally, a lot of this humor was just weird and out of place. But we did get Divine Joy Randolph came back to do a cameo as the reliable police officer whenever they need her to be, and went through the space, and that whole space has been sort of cleaned up. The whole secret club that was inside, and it's all different now. And so all the evidence is gone, and they have nothing against the three powerful CEOs. So Charles is also now on a dating app, which, okay. And so he's matching with people, but then he's also going to go meet up with Sophia, who is the mob wife, Bobby Cannavale's wife, played by Taya Leone, is recurring again here. And they go to a hibachi restaurant. There's a lot of gags with them like catching food in their mouth. It's really silly. And then she had to bring her kids along because even though they're in their 30s, I guess they can't be on their own. It's a bit much. It's like, do they not have Xboxes? Like, they're so childish at their ages, because she's like, oh yeah, so-and-so's turning 36. And I was like, he's blowing bubbles in his soda. And she's like, she's making a joke like, and they're going to sit at their own table because they're big boys. And I'm like, what? Like, I feel like the humor here, just, we completely flipped a switch and we went in a different direction. Not that there wasn't some funny stuff here, but there are a lot of jokes that seem like they're being written by somebody who hasn't been writing for the series, and was like, guys, this will be really funny. Guys, check this out. This will be really funny. Guys, this will be funny. And I don't think a lot of them worked because we're like halfway into the season, and so all of a sudden there's like a whole bunch of different gags that feel like they're from a different show, and they're being inputted into this, and they're being inputted in the middle of the season instead of at the beginning. Like, the comments about the testosterone and the dating apps, I feel like we should have learned in maybe the first episode or at the second episode at least. It's like episode 5. So Charles this whole time has been on the prowl, but we're just now learning about it. It feels random. So we had to watch him go through that, and then I guess I'm trying to do everybody like individually and get through Charles's arc. So Charles ends up going back. He sort of is like the main character of this episode anyway. And he was supposed to get information from Sophia about, they were looking for Tommy the Tongue. And uh, he was supposed to ask Sophia about it, but he didn't. They ended up making out, but he lost his phone in the car, and then he also like admitted in a weird way. They're like, "Oh, well, you didn't have any," and he's like, "Oh, yeah, the screen, my." So his lock screen is like a photo of the board, which is weird. And in his phone were pictures of the autopsy of Bobby Cannavale's body, and he also told Sophia the passcode. No, so again, I don't know who wrote this episode, but what? I felt this every once in a while with a TV show where I was just like, I don't. Did you let a new writer into the room? Are you trying out a new writer to see if it works? I would not. Whoever wrote this episode, I would no. I would not. I would move them along to something else. I think a lot of it didn't work because it felt like it just feels like somebody's trying to force their way into a show and they don't really understand the milieu of the jokes and the humor and the style. And so everything was just sort of dropped in more randomly than Only Murders will drop in, because Only Murders has already some sort of like random humor and some light jokes, but these are jokes that feel like that they're established. Like we don't get the kissy scene. We don't get the him accidentally revealing his passcode. He's like, you know how you start talking about threes and then you're really proud about threes and then suddenly you just reveal your passcode? No. What? Like, what are you even talking about? So I didn't understand what was happening, except I guess we're in for a weird second half of this season. If this is being written, if this writer is continuing on. Howard is in love with a robot, which is weird. I feel like we've given his character better things to do in this season, even though he's been up to series regular. If you haven't noticed, his name is now before it's like there's the top three and then there's him. They've upped him to regular. But he's not really doing anything. He's just following a robot around and learning some gossip and standing up for the robot. Uh which does not end well. And Charles and Mabel basically spend the episode sort of investigating things. They go down and they talk to, there's a guy that sorts the trash and knows all their trash and knows about all of their secrets because he can see all their, that is disgusting. uh like he knows Charles is on testosterone because he's looking through the trash. I was like, there's a lot of stuff that's in the trash, and if I knew somebody was down there, I don't think I would ever throw anything away. I don't think I would. I like the idea that you would have. I always assume it goes into a thing and then it just goes somewhere and it's at least mixed in with other people's stuff so they can't really ever discern. So it becomes harder to ever tell. But if there was somebody down there that was like learning the stuff of the people, I know. Move. I would move. So weird, creepy character, and who ends up giving them the trash from Lester's day, and making it into some sort of weird sculpture that's supposed to resemble Lester. I really don't know what was happening in this episode in terms of like the ideas and the concept and like what the writer's room was like. I know we're in the middle of the season, so they're trying to like turn. This is sort of like where you start turning the corner and you start heading in a direction. So it's like you've established the season, so now you're like, okay, well, which direction do we want the show to go in? We've introduced the characters. Where are we going now? So they Oliver and Mabel go in and they're in the employee room looking through lockers because I don't know. And the rest of the staff kind of catches them, and they see a Die Lester Die in the, like, written on the table, but it's because the staff hates the robot, Lester the robot. So Oliver decides to take this moment to stand up, and he stands with the staff and calls like a meeting of the, like a building meeting. So all the tenants come in. Well, all the tenants love the robot for various reasons. We did get a Richard Kind cameo again. So he still lives. He's, I guess, still a Westie, and exists. And he likes the robot because, you know, of his pink eye, and he's not going to give pink eye to a robot. I don't know. Did anybody get pink eye last season? I don't think so. So yeah. So somebody ends up kidnapping the robot and throwing it off the roof. And there's a really funny sequence where Selena is, one of the better jokes. Better jokes is Selena is, Mabel is talking and saying, "Oh yeah, oh that's right, because they said they uploaded Lester to the robot. We should go talk to the robot." And then something behind her clearly falls, and she just goes, "That was the robot, wasn't it?" You know. So yeah, I think that was probably the best gag that they had in the thing. Otherwise, there were a lot of just sort of like random jokes that didn't, um, didn't, like, there was a joke about Oliver, that Oliver was talking about when he was questioning something about the missing finger, and he's like, "You didn't have to put he didn't have to put a finger in the shrimp, right?" And he was complaining about his missing shrimp, and how he ordered like 6 cases, but there were only 5, and it was like, who takes an entire case? And there are a lot of clues, and I'm trying to pick up on like what might actually be important, but this episode was so weird and so random that it's really hard to do that, because it's like, well, what's the misdirect here? Like, are the boys really, maybe, are they actually a criminal element and they're just pretending to act stupid? Is it Taleone? Because the episode kind of ends with the 3 of them getting in a car, and because they're trying to find Charles's phone, they follow Taleone Flatbush to a house in Flatbush, where they learn that Tommy the Tongue is a company, and it's at this house, and they see her going inside, and look who's there. Oh, is that Lester's wife? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's surprise. But then that's going to be episode 6, which we're not going to get a killer reveal on episode 6, so obviously that's not going to be what it is. And so yeah, trying to figure out who the misdirect and who the killer is here. I think it's possible, based on the fact that he just started and he's trying to learn, that I'm going to pitch the idea that our new doorman is the one that killed Lester, the one that was coming up, that Lester learned something about him in the process, and that the deaths, there are 2 killers. So the deaths are, oddly, they seem related, but they're actually unrelated. I'm going to say that the new doorman killed him because he's got some secret in his past. And so Jermaine Fowler, I think that's his name. And I'm liking Taleone for the death of Bobby Cannavale right now, because it's weird that she's coming in and asking podcasters to find her missing husband, and then she's also trying to seduce one of the podcasters, and then has their phone. So it does seem highly suspect, but and her children are so beyond and need to have some help. So anyway, this episode kind of was a little bit of a letdown. I think the robot joke was great, and I'm hoping that we can give Howard something to do now that he doesn't have a robot to follow around, voiced by Paul Rudd, which is a good gag. Keeps him around. Like, he's been now he's done another season where he's had this little small part. So his 3rd season of being on Only Murders. There you go. That's my thought for this week on Only Murders. I'm gonna do obviously episode 6 after this, so look for that recap soon. But I would say right now it's hovering around an 8. It was sort of between 8 and 8.5, but this episode made me lean more towards 8 than an 8.5. So for my eventual grade, it could pull back up, but we're heading back down towards the 8 instead of the 8.5. I was not crazy about this episode in terms of all of the episodes that I've seen of Only Murders across 5 seasons. And also, Oliver doesn't really explain the offer, but it makes sense because he did just marry somebody who's in New Zealand. So he acts very cagey about it, like, but then he married Meryl Streep in last season, which was always going to be a problem. So why doesn't he just talk about that? He acts like he doesn't want to bring it up, but it's like everyone who watches the show knows that you're married to somebody who's not even in this country right now. And perhaps you're looking at trying to follow them and spend your life with them. I mean, how many murders can there be in this building? At a certain point, it gets to be a bit much. I don't think I don't think I'm going to be here recapping season 10 of Only Murders in the Building. It's just not a thing. So I think we've got either 1 or 2 seasons left, and then we're done. So I think if this was the final season, they would have announced it. So they're either looking at a season 6 or season 7. I don't think they're going to go much more than that. So because it gets kind of cartoonish about how many murders there can be in this building at one time, and you're going to the well too many times. So, but they get good guest stars. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.